A lie about a secular subject can be really bad, but when you involve mythology, things can get worse. When we leave a movie theater after having seen a violent movie, it's a darn good thing that we leave the fantasy in the theater, at least in the physical sense. We don't act out on those violent themes after the movie because we know it was just a movie, and usually movies are not based on true events. Certainly most movies which inspire needless violence are usually based on fictional stories. Some examples are The Exorcist, The Passion of the Christ, and most certainly the Left Behind series. Oh sure, we can't scientifically track the connections between most violent events and individual movies or stories until the perpetrators spell all that out for us, and sometimes they do. Exorcisms are more common today in 2007 than ever before, it seems. The Vatican announced a few years ago that it had opened a college for exorcists. It was open only to Catholic priests, and yes, they came from all around the world to attend this college. What if you went to a movie theater where everyone in the audience is told that the movie is reality and that they should act on it as soon as they leave the theater? Well, that'd be great if the movie is something that ends up promoting science or education or charity or anything else positive and helpful that people do in reality. It wasn't so nice when the movie was The Passion of the Christ, however. There's a theater like that, actually a great many theaters like that exist, and they don't require movie projectors. Those types of theaters are called churches. In church, you can hear a wild, fanciful, mythological tall tale and then hear about how it's 100% literally true. No matter how impossible the claims in the story are, in this theater, anything goes as long as it comes from the top. A movie theater like that would be a danger to society. Yet we have that already, in the form of churches. Some people claim that atheists don't have a purpose in life, because that would have to come from a God belief. With this book, as just one simple example, I hope to prove that wrong. Ever since I was released from the bondage of Christianity, I have found a better and growing purpose for myself. A purpose grounded in reality and fueled by empathy for those who are in the position that I was in for so long. I'm working to help humanity by fighting religion. It's a positive fight, too, just like trying to kill cancer is a good thing. Some people don't care about their cancer and don't get it treated, and then they succumb to it. Religion does the same thing to many, many people and has been doing so for thousands of years. I've met hundreds of people all over America and beyond who were in great need of liberating. They couldn't talk to their parents, friends, co-workers, or anyone else about their feelings on religion, only because they didn't believe in it anymore. I provided a friendly ear to many of them, but mostly I was educated by those people too. I learned that in America there is a quiet segment of rational Americans who strongly oppose religion, but who are so polite and so afraid that religion wins that struggle in their life. Just like that. There's no debate among most non-religious people and religious people most of the time. When we hear about God debates, it is a tiny minority of our tiny minority of atheists that get involved at all. The same is true for most Christians. Sitting in church quietly and obediently is the most effort that most Christians will devote to their religion. On the surface that sounds nice, but it only empowers their leaders more, when their leaders have the pew occupants to boast about and the money generated during the church services. They don't need vocal supporters in their flocks. That would only confuse the message anyway, since Christians agree on a lot fewer aspects of religion than one might think. As for our side, most atheists are in the closet, and one of my purposes in life is to get them out of there and get us our rights back. In this book I want to tell you why and how I became an atheist, and I want to relate to you some of the experiences I've had which have served to solidify my atheism even more. I've served 3 years in the Texas National Guard as an MP, Military Occupational Specialty 95 Bravo. I did my basic training and advanced individual training at the U.S. Army Military Police Corps at Fort McClellan in Oxford-Anniston, Alabama. Usually recruits would attend basic and AIT in 2 separate posts, but I was in a program called OSUT, which stands for One Station Unit Training. That was in 1990, long before the post closed. I will never forget basic training, as I'm sure everyone else who went through it will undoubtedly remember it too. Every Sunday we had some free time, and we were routinely invited to go to chapel. Our other option was to stay in our bays where we slept. I chose the latter, having already had enough religion in certain other areas of military life. I wasn't punished or penalized at all for that, to my surprise. After about an hour, the chapelized privates came back from chapel, raving about how fun it was to either sleep the whole time or flirt with the female privates right there in chapel during the service. Our company was all male, except for a couple of drill sergeants, who we didn't enjoy looking at. I also felt jealous of the guys who went to chapel, but that passed. I enjoyed being in the bay because it was like being home for a while. Also, because quiet time was extremely rare during the day. When we were issued our dog tags, I asked that the last line on my tags read the word atheist. The last line on your Army ID tags is your religious preference. I knew that was a trick. If they wanted your religious preference, the line would be religion. It's a question as to what kind of funeral you'd like, and also has a bit to do with giving of the last rites or anointing of the sick to us former Catholics. I said atheist proudly, and the U.S. Army specialist doing the ID tag said, no, that's not one of the options. I said it's not an option, it's a fact. Well, that didn't matter, and the only option that even remotely resembled what I wanted was the word none. Technically, it meant I didn't have a religious preference, and therefore wouldn't mind any kind of religious burial or other service done on me. Bullshit. It also felt like the entire U.S. government was equating my beliefs with nothing. Bullshit again. And I'm supposed to wear that for 3 years, I asked. Severe bullshit. Either the question should have been, what is your religion, or the answer should have been up to us. Ask me any question you like, as long as you make sure to allow me to give the answer that I give. It's called honesty. In that case, the U.S. Army was not being honest. Surprise! Now I keep those ID tags in a special place on display in my home. Not because I'm proud of the service I did in the military, I am, but mostly because I gave the most honest answer the government would allow this atheist who was serving their country to give when asked such an important question. It's also solid proof from the government that they discriminate against us. It shows clearly that many Christians just don't care about anyone's freedom of conscience except their own. After basic training and advanced individual training, I was sent back to Houston to join the Texas Army National Guard Unit, a small brigade MP detachment of the 50th Armored Division. Don't look for the 50th today. It got swallowed up by the 49th Armored Division a year or so after I had joined my unit. A business bonanza for tailors all over Houston, I'm sure. At that guard unit, I spent 3 years avoiding the religious services every Sunday of our drill weekends. The religious soldiers held services in the mess area, which doubled as a break area, so that was just plain wrong. The only other place we could goof off without getting put to work was outside in the sun, and here in Texas that's tough. Goofing off and just sitting around for hours is a popular pastime in the National Guard during peacetime and in between natural disasters and such. They kept the big garage doors open when they held Sunday service there, so we could all hear them singing. In fact, we could hear them talking, every word. A government religious service is a scary thing to an atheist. I quietly mocked the religious zealots in our church/mess hall, and I also took note of exactly who was in there. Other than that, my time in the military was relatively positive and a good education for life. I highly recommend military service to anyone who wants to get their life back in order, which is indeed what I desperately needed in late 1989. It worked, too. Before I went into basic training, I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I quit smoking immediately after going in, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since. Booyah!